So once again, welcome everyone to the 2021-22 Grant Information Session for Central Carolina Community Foundation. Thank you all so much for joining us today. We're going to have some more folks who are going to probably ping in here in a little bit as we get going, and we'll just kind of keep moving. We do, of course, ask you put yourself on mute, and we'll have some time at the end for questions, but there's also the chat. We have several staff who are on today, and they'll do their best to answer your questions as we go. So go ahead and ask questions in the chat. And then at the end, if there's some time, we'll certainly take some questions as well. So again, welcome. We're excited about this next grant season, and we're glad that you're here to join us to learn a little bit more about what we're doing. So I try to give everybody a quick overview of what a community foundation is. And so just so we all are on the same page, a community foundation, which is what we are, Central Carolina Community Foundation, is a 501c3 public charity. Jamesha, you can go to the next slide. It is a public charity, so we're a nonprofit just like you are. We have a collection of funds at the Community Foundation that kind of creates the whole, right? And so we really serve our donors, whether that be individuals, families, corporations. We have a wide range of donors that we work with to be able to really help them reach their philanthropic goals. Community foundations, by definition, serve a geographic region. We are serving the 11 counties of the Midlands. Quite a large region, a very diverse region. And we'll show you a slide here in a minute to show you kind of exactly where we're at. We do, just like you all, have a board of directors who really directs all of the work that we do. They're knowledgeable about the community and about the work that we're trying to do. We, as a community foundation, try to provide, leadership in the space of philanthropy. We kind of say we don't have a dog in the fight. We just want this community to be better and to be livable for all. And so we try to have a seat at the table to be able to be the voice of the community and to really think through what's best for our community. And we try to help out in any way we can. So that's kind of a brief overview of us as a community foundation. I did want to show you a map as well of the area we serve. And on the next slide there, you'll see that it's the yellow area in the middle. It's a very large area from Saluda, to Clarendon, Lee, and Sumter, from Fairfield down to Orangeburg. And so that's sort of our area. This map, just as an FYI, if you happen to be in the Greenwood area as well, there is a Greenwood Community Foundation. So I know it's white right now, but Greenwood does have its own community foundation. I think people are usually surprised that there are this many community foundations serving the state of South Carolina. For the most part, we all know each other very well. We share resources. We talk to each other about our grantees and about the good work that's going on in our communities. So we're happy to always refer you over to other community foundations as well if you're serving a larger area of the state than just the Midlands. So looking at kind of a glance, some people don't know sort of the scope of what Central Carolina Community Foundation does. We began in 1984, made our first grants in 1987, and since then we've awarded over $220 million into the community. The vast majority of that is staying right here in the Midlands. Some of it goes statewide and then some nationwide. We don't grant internationally, so all of this does stay here. Most of it does stay here locally. Because we are a collection of funds, we focus on everything from, animal welfare to arts and culture to faith-based, to economic, to education. It's a wide range of things that our donors give to, and therefore, as a result, we give to. Last year was a very busy year for us. COVID certainly increased the amount of grant making we had. And so from July 2020 through June 2021, we made almost 2,500 grants to 1,000 nonprofits. And some of you got multiple ones, so congratulations. And that totaled over $15 million that we put out into the community. And our team, the community investment team, there's some grants that are just sort of, they're a donation, right? They give it a grant. Some of them what's called competitive grants, which means there was an application, there's a contract, there's reports. And so that's really on the community impact team who does those competitive grants. And we currently have 244 grantees that we are actively managing, who are in some sort of process, and that number actually just went up because we just awarded 46 1SC COVID grants just last week. So that number is going to be higher, which is great. It really is. So that's sort of the work we're doing at a glance. Our priorities are, the community investment team in particular, is to increase livability and quality of life in the Midlands, and also to increase philanthropy. We try to do what we can to encourage others to give, and to coordinate our giving and to make sure that it complements each other. We also are in the space of nonprofit capacity building. And we'll talk a little bit about that here in a little while. Our goal is, because most of the money that goes out from the Community Foundation is actually donor directed from a donor advised fund or something like that. And we really asked ourselves, how can we leverage those dollars to be sure that they're going to the best and highest use? And we thought by helping to build nonprofit capacity, we can help ensure that that money that's going out from our donors is going to organizations that are doing good work, that have good infrastructure, that are efficient and effective. And so that's where we're putting some of our dollars, as well as in nonprofit capacity building. We do that, we try to do that in coordination with Midlands Gives. If you're a part of that, you know there's a lot of trainings that come through there with our African American Philanthropy Committee, which is focusing on Black-led and Black benefiting nonprofits and helping to build their capacity, as well as other funders around the city and the state who are doing capacity building. We're trying to coordinate with them as well. We also, part of our priority is diverse organizations, and diversity kind of is a big overall, umbrella. But we're looking at not only ethnic diversity, so Black, Latinx, Asian, and Indigenous led organizations and serving organizations, but also beyond Richland County. We want to make sure that our dollars are not only kind of concentrated right here in Columbia, but going out to all 11 of our counties. We're trying to find opportunities to engage with organizations from throughout the region, as well as different size organizations and different missions. And so we're trying to do that and to help you all network with each other as well, because we think there's certainly power in numbers and power in the fact that you all get to know each other a little more. So the question is, what's new, what's different this year? Well, we haven't seen you all face to face in so long. We miss you. We did get to have that one moment this summer where we thought that maybe things were turning around, and it was great to see a lot of you at the cheer, the nonprofit cheer we had at the beginning, at July 1, I think it was June 30th. But since then, I want to let you know some of the new things that are happening. We have new staff on our team, and we're very excited about that. Halie Brazier is our new program officer. Yay, Halie, we're so excited to have you on board. You see her face in there somewhere. Hopefully she's waved. I'm seeing a smaller screen. But Halie is on board, and you'll see that we'll kind of talk through our different portfolios, if you will. She's taking on some roles that, if you remember Courtney Bailey, she's taking on some of that, but also some of the other stuff, scholarships and things like that. So we're very happy to have Halie on board. We also have Hannah White, which is our new philanthropy intern. So welcome, Hannah. She comes to us from the University of South Carolina. Some of you may remember Maya Morris, who was with us for a couple of years, and Hannah is just as dynamic, and we're excited to have her on board as well, to help you all and to help us in our department. The other thing that is new is that we now finally have a grant portal. And I know we've been talking about this for a while, and this has finally come to fruition, and we're very excited about it. This is going to be a way for you as a nonprofit to go into our grant portal, to create an account for your organization, and therefore also for yourself. And you're able to go in and apply for grants through our grant portal. All your work will be saved there. Your draft will be able to be saved there. I know that's something that you all have frequently said to us. We really wish we could save our work. You now are going to be able to do that. You're going to be able to collaborate with others. You can send your applications to coworkers, or maybe there's a partner organization. You can ask them to specifically provide input on the applications you're working on. You're also going to be able to import your organization data from GuideStar. So hopefully you're not going in and putting the same information over and over. You can just pull it directly from GuideStar. And you see I have on there that a tip and some advice I have for you is to go in and update your GuideStar profile. So 2 for 1, go in and update your GuideStar profile. And then when you go into our grant portal, you can import that information directly into our grant portal, because it does connect to that, which is great. We also have the option now with our new grant portal, you'll be able to preview the application before you even start it. So you can go in and see all the questions. So you have that in advance. You're able to print off those questions as well if you want to. So you have all the information up front before you get started, so you know kind of what you're getting into if that's something you want to apply for. And the really nice thing too is that when you get funded, we're not going to say if, we hope for when you get funded, all your information will be right there. The contract, any supporting documents. So it's not that, if you guys remember, we've had, the email back and forth. We email you the contract, you email it back to me, or you save it into this link, or you do your report on this other link. So we're going to have it all right there together. All you have to do is log in and look at your dashboard. Good, I saw Terry gave me a thumbs up. I'm glad to hear that. You'll see all on your dashboard. You'll know when things are due, what documents are due, and it's going to all be in one place. So we're really hoping, thank you, Donna, that you think that this is good. Now, it's going to be some bumps. I need to say that. There's going to be some bumps in the road. We'll work through that with you, and we fully acknowledge that there's going to be something we forgot to do. And so we'll work with you. We hope you show us a little bit of grace in that regard. So I do want to show you a couple screenshots of the portal just so you have a little idea before you get in there. So if you go to yourfoundation.org and go to the Grants and Scholarships tab at the top there, and then we ask that you go to the Before You Start, which is on the right menu. That'll take you to the Before You Start page. There is a tutorial on that page for the grant portal. I need to say, I don't think it's going to be super complicated. If you've done grant portals before, this should be pretty intuitive for you. But there is a document there that does give you an overview of the grant portal before you get started. Once you click onto that grant portal, once you do go to it, or, to the Apply Now page, if you will, on one of the grants you're interested in, it will take you directly to our grant portal. You can go in there, create a new account. So that you'll see that button, just click Create New Account, and it'll walk you through the process of doing that. When you do click on that, the next page you'll see is it says Create New Account. That's the next slide there. We ask that you spend some time on that now up front. Good data in means good data out, right? So spend some time getting that accurate. Make sure your EIN number is correct, all your addresses are correct, email addresses, all those things are correct here at the beginning. It'll save a lot of time and energy on the back end whenever you're actually applying and or receiving grants. So spend a little time actually creating your organization's profile and your account as well. Now, once you get in there, you'll see at the top there, you'll have a home, the little home icon you see there, that actually will take you to your dashboard, and you'll see your information there. When you're interested in applying for a grant, you click on that apply button, which is at the top there in the green, and that'll take you to the apply page. There's a few things there I want to make sure that you saw, we circled there. One is there at the top right, it says enter code. Now that is for any organization that has been asked to apply for a grant and was given, it's by invitation only. We have some like the Mary Siebert Charitable Trust, which is for people who are working for the benefit of animals. We have the Knight Foundation that's by invitation, Feeding the Blowfish, which is by invitation. You'll be given a code if we ask you to apply for that, and that's where you'll enter that code. If you're interested in the other grants, you can just scroll down and the information is there. You'll see the top one, for example, is AFLAC. If you're interested in applying for that, there's a blue button that says apply in the top right. There's also, which we strongly encourage you, when it says click here for more information about this grant, please do that. Spend some time on our actual web page, which is on our website, to learn more about the grant, to learn what the parameters are, and see if it's a good fit for your organization. Because what's provided on the grant portal is really just a snapshot. So we encourage you to go to the full grant page to learn more about the grant before you dig in and apply for something. You'll see that we have a question, so we'll have each contact person from our staff that's on there as well. And then you'll see there's a button there that says preview, which is right under Haley's picture there. That's under each grant. And that's where you can actually see the application in advance. You can preview the application to take a look at it, see what the questions are, what it's asking of you. And you certainly can then decide if that's something you want to move forward on and applying for that. So that, again, is just a brief overview of our grant portal. I hope you're excited about it. We're excited about it. We spent a lot of time getting ready for today. And so, again, go in there, poke around a little bit. You can't really, well, you could mess things up, but I don't think you will. But if you have any questions, certainly let us know, and we'll help walk you through some of that as well. So, kind of getting into what does CCCF do, again, our goal is to try to make connections. We try to be a collaborator in our community. We do have a collection of agency funds, so any nonprofit that might be interested in starting a fund, they certainly can do that with us. We have scholarships, which a lot of folks don't know. We provide scholarships to students all the way from, kindergarten all the way up through graduate medical school, those kind of things. We have some awards. We also have donor advised funds and competitive grant making, which we'll talk a lot about today, and then some special initiatives as well. So if there's not any questions about some of that, we'll go ahead and dive into the next round of stuff and have Jamesha take over. And I should have introduced all of our whole team. I should have also said Jamesha Shackerford is still with us, which we're very excited about. So we have Halie, Hannah, and Jamesha. And so welcome, Jamesha, please. You can go ahead and take over.
No love lost, boss. I know that love was there. Hey, y'all, we're super excited to be sharing with y'all. I'm going to briefly go over our agency funds. Currently, right now, we have about 40 agency funds at the foundation. And again, these are endowments that nonprofits start. So similar to you might have an endowment at a bank or endowment in other places. That's essentially what an agency fund is. The thing I love about our agency funds is that the money that is invested in an agency fund is pooled. means put together with all the other funds that we have at the Community Foundation, which if you're a finance person on the team, or you can ask one of your finance people, we know that means lower fees, access to benefits normally reserved for those larger investments. So having an agency fund is at the foundation, that's one of the benefits of it. Another benefit of it is that we can handle complex gifts. Again, this, like when you think about gift annuity, like in the category of planned gifts, it involves a contract between a donor and a charity. All those complex gifts that may happen where there's a trust or someone is leaving you something in your will, the foundation can help facilitate that and support that through an agency fund. I think another thing I love about agency funds here is that the money, CCF becomes the owner of the funds, therefore insulated a nonprofit from suits or judgments. We hope that none of you all will go through any sort of judgments or lawsuits, but having the fund in an agency fund at the Community Foundation allows for that to be insulated. So if your organization does get sued, that money won't be touched because technically the foundation is in ownership of it. But essentially the agency funds, the money is given by the nonprofit, but the money goes directly back to you. That's the key component. The only organization that can benefit from an agency fund is the nonprofit. So if you're interested in learning more about agency funding and endowments, we can put you in contact with our VP for Finance, Kevin Patton, and get you situated that way. Next, we're going to talk about some of our affiliated funds here at the Community Foundation. Right now, we have 4 affiliated funds. Greater Chapin Community Foundation is one of our more active funds right now, and that Community Foundation serves the Greater Chapin community. So we're talking about Chapin, Ballantyne, White Rock, Peak, Prosperity, and all those neighboring communities. They typically have an application that's open from in the month of February, springtime. Now this year they're looking to switch some things a little bit up, so that timeline may change, but they do have an open application process. And then they also give out matching grants for nonprofits during Midlands Gives. So that's one thing that they do historically with their competitive grants that they award. The grants typically do not exceed $3,000, but they're really trying to do some intentional work in that Greater Chapin community area. Our Orangeburg Calhoun Community Foundation, they provide Midlands Gives matching grants currently right now. We're looking forward to getting some more interest in that community and supporting that community foundation, as well as with Kershaw. They do not currently have any active community members, but they do provide prizes through Midlands Gives, and very similar to Sumter as well. If you are a nonprofit from Sumter, shout out to Sumter. They do a bonus pool for Midlands Gives there as well. And Sumter is becoming more active. We actually have a committee in Sumter, a board committee there that's looking at how can they better support the Sumter community and the Sumter nonprofits. So just an FYI on our affiliate funds. Next, we're going to talk about Midlands Gives. So usually when y'all hear Midlands Gives, it's Elizabeth talking to you. So hopefully I can do her part justice. So Midlands Gives, it improves your organization's fundraising public awareness. That's really the focus of it. It's a way to get your organization's name out there and to raise some funds. A lot of people know Midlands Gives for the prizes and the matching donations that are provided. We encourage you all to register for Midlands Gives this upcoming year. The timeline will be October the 19th through January the 7th. And then Midlands Gives Day is actually May 3rd of 2022. Can't believe we're talking about 2022 dates, but we are. But some highlights of Midlands Gives from this past year for 2021, we raised over $3.3 million for 480 nonprofits. Shouts out to y'all, claps. We're super excited that it continues to grow. The work continues to get out there. We're super excited also that our corporate community also continues to support Midlands Gives and the nonprofits participating. Again, as I mentioned, Midlands Gives increases the public awareness of your organizations. You may not know this, but we get 1,400 hits to the Midlands Gives site outside of May. So you think about people who are just like everyday donors and people who want to give back to the community or get involved. They're checking out the Midlands Gives website throughout the year to make sure to learn about different nonprofits. So make sure your page is up to date and all of that good stuff. Also, as I mentioned earlier with some of our affiliate funds, they provide regional matching for nonprofits. like Calhoun, Chapin, Kershaw, Orangeburg, and Sumter, you'll get those matching grants through Midlands Gives. Last year, we had nearly $1 million in prizes and matches awarded. When we talk about increasing philanthropy here at the foundation, of that being really one of our focuses, we get the opportunity to do that through Midlands Gives and partner with you all to do that, to put philanthropic dollars into our community. So we hope that 2022 will be an even greater year. But as I said, we want you guys to register for that. That's the timeline. You've seen it here first, October the 19th through January the 7th. Next, I'm going to talk through the David W. Robinson Catalyst Award. This year, we did something a little bit different. Well, last year, should I say, we did something a little bit differently. We looked at organizations who exemplified leadership during a COVID pandemic and really wanted to acknowledge those organizations and give an award to them. So the history of the David W. Robinson Catalyst Award is to recognize an organization that has exemplified leadership, creativity, vision, commitment in addressing critical community needs. Now, let's just say during this past year of the pandemic, all of y'all had to be creative. We had no choice but to be creative, but to lead our communities in a way that may have been different than we've done before. So the Robinson Award, the Catalyst Award, really gets to the heart of that. And as you can see, awardees that demonstrates those really 4 component areas is really how we look and how we qualify it. This year, we're looking to do something very similar to what we did last year. We're going to be, listening to community members, learning learning who's been doing great work over this past year, really past 2 years, and reach out to some organizations to do a by invitation only application process. One thing I do want to note, this award does come with a small monetary donation for the winner. Although I want to tell people we do not want to treat it as a competitive grant, because it's not, but it's an opportunity to really just support and celebrate an organization who've been doing some good work. People in the past who've gotten it is the Columbia Housing Authority has gotten it in the past. The Cooperative Ministry, Junior League of Columbia has gotten it in the past. Who was the winner last year, Erin? Fairfield Forward? Yeah, Fairfield Forward was the winner last year. Y'all, all my days are running into each other. But those are just some of the folks who have received it in the past. Okay, and I'm going to pass it back over to Erin to go over more of our competitive grant making.
Yes, so just a quick snapshot overview of our competitive grant making. We have quite a few applications that will open and close this year. I'm going to briefly talk about some of the ones at the top there. The ones with the stars, we're going to kind of jump into a little bit deeper and have staff talk through that with you. But we do have field of interest funds. Those are sort of wide ranging. They're around animal welfare, education, arts, human service, leadership. And so those things are that we do usually by invitation and or our board just does a direct grant from our field of interest fund. We also help Sunoco, which is out of Darlington County, run their competitive grant making. Again, they're really specifically interested in organizations that are in projects that are in Darlington County, a little bit into Florence, I'll say, but mostly really Darlington County is what they're interested in. Their areas of interest are arts and culture, community development, environment, education, health and wellness. If an organization is interested and thinks that they might meet the needs of Sunoco, specifically again in Darlington County, let us know, and we'll reach out to Sunoco, and Sunoco will let us know if they would like your organization to submit an application. But they do it a little bit more by invitation, a little bit smaller, a closed process. We also help the Hootie and the Blowfish Band with the Hootie and the Blowfish Foundation. Jamesha is the new contact for that grant. And so she'll be, and again, that is by invitation only as well. The Hootie and the Blowfish Foundation, every year they fund what they call an area of need grant. And we believe that they'll do that again this year. It's typically a 3-year grant, $10,000 a year. Again, I'll need to say we haven't specifically heard they're going to do that again this year, but we're assuming that they will at this point. They typically always fund in the area of arts education in public schools and one other area, and that has been pretty far ranging, anything from mental health to services for children and families with children who have disabilities, veteran services. So they really are pretty wide ranging, but they do have a heart for young people. and for people in need and in high need counties throughout our state. This is a statewide grant that the Blowfish Foundation does fund statewide. So what we do when they tell us what areas that they're interested in, we assemble a list and send that over to them, and they identify the organizations they would like to apply. It is a competitive process. We typically ask for about double the number of organizations that they'll actually fund, and we'll then process that with them. That happens though in late winter, early spring. So if Jamesha reaches out and asks for some information, certainly answer her call. And then we also have the Lynch's River Conservation Fund. That grant we've been doing now for several years. It really is to improve the water quality in the Lynch's River watershed. And so that's actually everything from the North Carolina border down to the PD River. So it does a large part of our state. The application is currently open. You probably, if you're someone who does land conservation, you probably already know this is happening, but that application closes September 30th. If you have any questions, let me know. It's around for land purchase and conservation easements in the watershed. And then last but not least is our disaster relief fund. Central Carolina Community Foundation houses the 1SC fund, which is a statewide disaster relief fund. And like I said, we just finished doing almost $1 million in COVID grants just last week. And we will have a little bit more of those probably that we will do this fall. But that application is currently closed. If and when it opens, we will certainly let folks know through our nonprofit newsletter. So once again, a shameless plug, sign up for our nonprofit newsletter. That's how you will know when grants open. And we don't have a timeline yet for that grant to open and close, but as soon as we know, we'll certainly let you all know. So those are the ones that we just will kind of briefly go over, and then we'll spend a little time digging a little bit deeper into these. So Halie, you want to talk us through AFLAC?
Sure. I am happy to be here, and I am taking over the AFLAC grants from Courtney. We've actually kind of reshuffled a lot of the grant portfolios here. So for any of these grants, they might be a different contact person than what you've had in the past. But we do have on our website, we've updated who is in charge of each one. And then also in the grant portal, we have the contact person's name at the bottom of each application page on the summary there. So so I am new to all of this, but I am learning more every day. And we can talk about the AFLAC grants first. This is a statewide grant that has 2 cycles, and it kind of, you might want to think about when your programmatic years are, or if you're a school that, or not, an education program, that might depend on when you might want to apply. So the areas of interest that the AFLAC is interested in funding are health and well-being, which is very broad, but they do have a particular interest in pediatric cancer patients. However, they will accept other applications as well. And then education, which is also equally broad. And they have a particular interest in life skills, but then also other traditional education programs. Schools are not eligible to win, but if you are a nonprofit working with a school, that would be eligible for sure. As I said, there's 2 cycles. The first one coming up right now this year is the second one this year is the fall cycle. The application will be open September 1st through September 30th. And that is for a project that would be starting, that would last somewhere between January and December of 2022. Then if that doesn't really work for your organization, or you need more time to put something together or get collaborators, then we do have another cycle opening up in the spring that will be open. The application will be open throughout the month of March. And then that project would start July 1st of 2022 and then go to June of 2023. And so this is actually a really competitive grant. We do get a lot of applications for this because it's statewide, because it's pretty broad parameters. So if you do have questions about it, feel free to contact me, email, phone, whichever works best for you. These are grants up to $10,000. And there are some, a lot of people have applied in the past and haven't quite gotten it. You are welcome to continue applying. Because it's so competitive, sometimes you can be just underneath what they have available to fund that month or that year. And then I'm trying to see if there's anything else about these grants. If you already have funding, or if you have been funded with this grant recently, there are limits to when you can apply again. Basically, the way that we approach it is you need to finish your program year. And then after you've submitted your final report, which is about 2 weeks after that, the end of that year, then you are eligible for the next cycle that opens up. So if that kind of helps you to determine if you're eligible. 2 more grants that we are opening up this month. So these are also open from September 1st to September 30th. The Jumpstart Collective Impact Grant is it's a really interesting program with the Network for Good is who runs it, and they have a CRM, donor management, constituent relationship management, I think is what that stands for, software program that that's included in this program. Then they also have multiple sessions of coaching to help you with fundraising, to help you with learning how to use the software. It's a very interactive program where they are your guides through all of that. Only certain kinds of nonprofits that are in a certain position would work well with this grant. For example, if you already have another CRM software that you're using and you aren't really interested in changing that, then this might not be the grant for you because the software is part of it. But this is a matching grant as well. So the whole course basically costs $6,400. Network for Good provides a discount of $1,400, or they provide $1,400 of that. We provide $4,000 to $4,500 of that. And then on a sliding scale, the grantee would provide between $500 and $1,000 as a match for this program. We do have an information session if you're more interested in this particular program that is required to apply, and that's September 8th at 11 a.m. I think we've sent that out in our network in our nonprofit newsletter, and we'll do that again to make sure that anybody who wants to come has that information, or you can also contact me and I'll get you registered for that session. Terry asks if this is only for smaller organizations. Erin, you might be able to respond to that more. The Network for Good does have, part of the application is an assessment where they look at kind of, your how your board is, how many staff people you have, what your income and expenses are, things like that. So they're the ones that really determine what organizations best fit it. But it's really, I think, organizations that are in need of guidance for their development and fundraising capabilities. Erin says Jumpstart is a great program. Awesome. Thank you, Erin. Then we have another set of grants coming out. These are up to $5,000. They're for organizational capacity building. So not program capacity building, but your organization. So things that might qualify for this would be if you're looking for up to $5,000 for board development, strategic planning, building reliable funding streams, succession planning, DEI efforts. And last year we added PPE and cleaning supplies, thanks to the pandemic. So these are things to really help build your capacity as an organization. And this is another really great opportunity if you just need that little bit of extra help to maybe hire a consultant to help you get through this, or do a report or a plan. This can really help with that. This doesn't pay for things like going to conferences or for events. It also doesn't pay for your operating expenses. So if you already have like a development person on staff, it doesn't pay for part of their salary or anything. So you can check our website out to see a little bit more information about what is available for that. The capacity building mini grants, that's a great question, Madison. They are limited to just our 11 county footprint. So that is not a statewide grant. And I believe the Jumpstart grants are also just for our 11 counties as well. I think AFLAC is the only one that would be statewide out of these ones that are open right now. Alrighty, and then we do have some other capacity building opportunities. As Erin said, we're really trying to grow that program of what we're doing to help our wonderful nonprofits. And so we have all these different opportunities coming up, and what you'll need to do is to find out more, you'll need to join that nonprofit newsletter, and then you'll get a lot more information as we put these trainings and coachings and other grants together.
All right, so I'll briefly talk you all through the Knight Foundation grant as well. The Jonathan Jamesdale Knight Foundation. If you have been in this area for a while, you know that the Knight was Knight Ritter, who owned the state newspaper. When they sold that, they actually developed the funds here at the Community Foundation to be able to make grants. There are 13 other cities like us around the country who also have funds. And in particular, the Knight Foundation is looking to fund in Columbia. Now, they might shade a little bit into Lexington, but just like right over the river. So they really are interested in Columbia and Richland County. And so their overall goal is to help cities attract and keep talented people, to expand economic opportunity, and to create a culture of engagement. If you think about it, they're newspaper people, right? They want you to be engaged in your community. They want to have people who are attracted to this community and to stay in this community and to work and be here in this community with us. And so what they're interested in is, again, attracting and keeping talented people. There's another thing that's a little bit different that they added this year, which is smart and responsive cities. And that really is around the idea of enhancing technology in our city to be able to make it more efficient, to be able to help people engage better. And really, they also kind of frame it too as to help respond and recover from the pandemic. So there's ways that we can use technology to help boost our infrastructure within our city and within our county. That's something they're also interested in. So they are certainly interested in our institutions. So if you partner with the city, with the colleges and universities here, they're interested in public space, public life, people being out and in community together. That's certainly what they want to also learn a little bit more about. This is by invitation only. I'm the contact person for the Knight Foundation grant. It is open, year round as we get in things that are interesting. It does award up to $50,000. If you have a project you think might fit, I certainly encourage you to go to the website, take a better look, dig in a little bit deeper, reach out to me. We can talk through your idea. This is something that we would actually work with a nonprofit on to apply together. We apply on your behalf, if you will, to Knight Foundation. So we would work together on a proposal to submit to them. But again, if you think you have something here in the city of Columbia that might fit their interest, let me know, and I'll be glad to chat with you a little bit more about that. And then we'll talk a little bit about Beyond the Table. Beyond the Table are mini grants that happen after On the Table. So we'll do a little shameless plug for On the Table. That is a day of conversation. It's actually a week of conversation. We know that for people to be more engaged in their community, they need to sit and talk and be in community, if you will, with others. And so On the Table is a time for you to have conversations over some sort of meal, whether it's coffee, cookies, whatever that is. And we recognize that people, it's human nature to develop closer relationships over a meal. And so we want people to be able to have, this is a national thing as well, and we've been doing it here for a few years. We ask people to gather face to face and to find common ground, right? And then ideally you say, what do you love about this community? And what else do you think could be better about this community? And have some conversations around that. This is for Lexington, Richland, and Sumter counties, but we would love if people in other counties are interested in having conversations and hosting conversations, to certainly reach out to us. You can sign up to be a host. It's not hard. It really is just agreeing to bring together your friends, your peers, your colleagues and having an hour conversation, and maybe you provide the coffee for it, right? And being able to just, they say, trust the table, let people take the conversation where they want the conversation to go. Ideally, in a wonderful world, your table will identify some areas that could improve in our community. And that's when here's an idea, you have an idea that bubbles up. We have little mini grants that are available afterwards that open up the first day of On the Table, that can help you and your organization, your community, your conversation participants, to maybe address what that need is. And so the only thing we ask is that there be some components that go along with these little sort of actionable projects. One, we really want you to involve volunteers. We know people who volunteer in their community tend to stay in their community. They tend to give in their community. So we ask that you engage volunteers in these projects. Ideally, there'd be some sort of civic engagement maybe, as well as fostering social change. It'd be great if you can support local businesses while you're at it. If you are going to get, if you're going to engage with a business, to try to have that be a local business as well. Again, we ask it to be small, actionable projects, not necessarily something your organization always does. This isn't really meant to supplant your programming, but something sort of above and beyond, something small, short, tangible that can be done in the 6 months. These are 6-month grants. But the application again opens the day of On the Table, when On the Table starts, so October 3rd, and it runs through November 10th. And that's when the application actually closes. And the goal is to have these grants awarded by January 1. So you'll have funds up to $2,000 again by the beginning of 2022. So that's sort of a Beyond the Table mini grant. And I'll drop into the chat a link to On the Table. So if you're interested in being a host, sign up now. We'd love for you all to consider being a host. And then you can kind of get into some of our initiatives and be part of that family. Jamesha, I'll pass it to you.
Thank you. So next we're going to talk about Connected Communities. And for those of you who may be aware, Connected Communities is one of our signature grant programs here at the Community Foundation. Those who may be aware may not, everybody. Last year we awarded $315,000 through our Connected Community program. And really with this grant, we want to answer the question, ask the question, what draws a person to a place and what keeps them there? So truly what connects them to the community? What makes residents love where they live? And then what are the results of residents being connected to each other in their community? So really asking ourselves those 3 questions as we continue with this program. So what is Connected Communities? More in detail are projects that should increase quality of life and community attachment and satisfaction by increasing Midlands residents easy access to these things below. So we have safe places to live and work, healthcare facilities and services, quality job opportunities, affordable housing, safe, proximal, high quality recreation areas, not just any regular park, but high quality recreation areas, and then quality arts and culture events. And these, how many of these? Is it 6 things? These 6 things here, we know that if a person has increased access to these things, their quality of life enhances. So really around the framework of livability. And where we get these ideas from of what really increases a person's community attachment is coming off of a study that was conducted by the Knight Foundation. They did a study, and also the Gale, between Knight and the Gale, they did a study of asking people really what makes them connected to their community. And these are some components that were highlighted. We also hear this echoed in some of our On the Table information that we're getting too. So if people are coming together and having these hundreds of conversations about what makes them love where they live at, we realize that some of these areas also mirrors what we're hearing from our local On the Table initiatives. So next, I'm going to go into Connected Community details. And if you want to know the history, more the detailed history of the study that Connected Communities is birthed on, you can go to our website under Connected Communities, and it can lead you to all the data and statistics in the study that was conducted. But getting into the nitty-gritty details of it, the focus areas is livability, quality of life, and community attachment. The awards range from $2,000 to $50,000. $50,000 is the max. I know there's a wide range of amount that you can apply for, but is there. And then this is a challenge match. So the goal is to increase philanthropy in the Midlands. So we're hoping by awarding a grant, this challenge match to an organization, they can then go out to community members, corporations to say, hey, I got this Connected Communities match. Can you, Grant, can you help me raise some additional dollars? So grantees are required to make a 30% match of whatever they were awarded. Now, if you are an organization who's been awarded in years past, if you are applying for the same project as you did in the years past, you are required to do a higher match. And then if that's you, we'll be able to communicate with you regarding what that match is. If you're applying for the second time, I think it's 40% match. And then for the third time, it's 50% match. This project must be, organizations must be located within our 11 county service area. So you actually have to have a physical location here. I know that some organizations are from, say North Carolina, but have an office here. You actually have to be physically located here. You have to be a 501c3 organization, public entity, educational organization, or faith-based organization. And register for Midlands Gives. That's really important to us because we know that Midlands Gives gives the opportunity for folks to get that challenge match. So when we ask you how you're going to get your challenge match, we always encourage folks to say, we're going to participate in Midlands Gives as well as do some other things. So that's really the nitty-gritty details of it. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about what projects should do. So projects should enhance community connections in the 11 counties service area of the foundation. It should incorporate novel approaches to creating a vibrant, connected community, raise public awareness about our region. Again, this is the focus of livability. So we want people to see the projects that are going on and be like, man, there's some pretty cool stuff that's going on in the Midlands area. I want to move there. It should have a measurable level of community involvement, volunteers, or participants. As Erin has mentioned just a few minutes ago, we know that people who volunteer to their community are more likely to invest in their community. So we really look at volunteers in the local community participation. It should be a new or expansion project. Current programs for your organization will not be considered. Now, we know you guys have some solid programs y'all do every year. Great, keep doing them. But when it comes to connected communities, this should be a new project that your organization is doing, or an expansion of a current project. And so it shouldn't just be an additional line item. Now, there is a fine balance because we are in the belief of, we don't believe that organizations should write grants. Should create programs just to get grants, right? Because that can sometimes create more work on an organization. But I would say if you're looking at a project and if there's something for a new project, if there's something that you guys have been wanting to do and you think it fits within the connected community parameters, this might be a good opportunity for that. And then lastly, it should promote philanthropy across our region. Again, we want people to be philanthropists across our region. That's given their time, talent, treasures, ties, all those T's when it comes to the pillars of philanthropy. What we will not fund, just so you're aware, are routine operating expenses for the organization, as I mentioned, fundraising projects, including events, debt reduction, endowment, capital campaigns, no medical research on our end, conference travels or underwriting or sponsorships are some things that we will not fund. Now, if you're interested, after hearing all that information, if you're interested, the application is really in a 3-part step process. The goal is to prevent any extra work for a nonprofit. So we take you all through that 3-step process by first starting with an LOI, which is going to be open November the 15th through December the 15th. And then from there, organizations are then invited to complete a full application. And then the final round is a question and answers. But this process allows us to have a better understanding of the proposed project. And as an organization goes from round to round, we're able to just get a deeper understanding of the project and build a deeper relationship with the grantee. So I know that people are like, man, 3-step process, but I would tell you with us starting with an LOI is less work than you have to do in the beginning versus giving us everything in the beginning and then, not being awarded. So we try to be very intentional about that. Now, the letter of intent, it says letter of intent, but it should say letter of intent application because it is an application. It's not a letter that you submit to me on on your letterhead. So it's an online submission in our new grant portal. Whoop, whoop for that. And with the letter of intent, it's pretty sweet and simple. You provide a brief overview of the project and what the total budget is and what you're requesting for. Now, the second round gets into really the nitty gritty and the full budget. But in the beginning, that letter of intent is really like, tell us what you're doing and how it aligns with this project. What you all should be thinking about now is determine the interest and develop partnerships. So thinking about what the parameters of connected communities is, and then start looking at organizations around that you can partner with to continue to fulfill whatever this project is. The project timeline is May 1st of 2022 to April 31st of 2023. Y'all, again, whenever I see 2022 dates in 2023, I'm like, what in the world? But just thinking about the time frame of when the application is and when the actual project must take place, that project timeline means funding must be spent between those dates. Not before and not after, but funding must be spent between those dates. So as you're developing it, as you're talking with partners, please be sure that you're keeping that project timeline in mind. And then I am going to pass it over to Halie to talk a little bit about scholarships. But if you have any questions about the connected communities, my information will be at the end.
Yeah, so we have some great news with our scholarships, some new stuff this coming year, and then we wanted to brag a little bit about all of our 208 students who received scholarships this past year. We have 46 scholarship funds and more than $460,000 was given out this past year for students in the 2021-22 school year. 65% of these were first generation college students. And I just think that it just warms my heart to hear that this is really reaching a really wonderful audience and bringing them to the potential that they really can reach. The median scholarship is about $1,500. A lot of them are recurring, which means that they can send us a smaller application the next year, and they can get funds for the following year as well. This year we have over $500,000 to give away for our scholarships, and we have, just like with the grants, we will have a brand new online scholarship portal that looks very similar to the grant portal as well. So this is something where we have 46 scholarship funds, but you don't have to go through each one and say, do I qualify for this? Is this right for me? You just send in the one application, and then it will automatically pull up all the different scholarship funds that you might be eligible for. So it's a really cool system that will do that. So do let your colleagues know, let your clients know if you're working with high school or college age students. We also have some scholarships that are for students that have some more life experience as well, some non-traditional students. So there's a really wide variety of scholarships. So let them know that this is there. We have a whole page devoted to it on our website. And like I said, it'll be another online portal for us to start, and applications will be from January to March. So be thinking about that. We also do have a couple of scholarships that provide full tuition for some students in Sumter, attending USC or Clemson as well. So some of these are really wonderful. So I hope that y'all will spread the word, and we'll get a lot of great applicants this year. And then this is just our contact information. So you can get in touch with us. So let us know if you have any questions about any of this. We really want to hear from you, especially as we get into this new grant portal and scholarship portal. There might be some little hiccups along the way. So if you do find like a link isn't working or something's not happening, do let us know so we can get that fixed for you. But also be patient with us as we try to, we're figuring all this out too ourselves. But we want to get to know y'all. We want to learn about the really amazing work that you're doing under extraordinary circumstances right now. We have funds that we want to get out into the community in whatever way we can. So we are excited to start off a new year of doing that. And so once again, we recommend that you sign up for our nonprofit news list. Follow us on our social media as well. We're very active on that. Our website is updated very regularly. So that's something that it's a good resource to look at. It's not something that, we haven't touched in 20 years or anything like that. Yeah, anything else, Erin or Jamesha, you wanted to add?
I was going to add one thing. Great job on like the final recap, Halie. I was going to let people know we are real people. Like we are real people, me, Erin, Halie, Hannah. That means because we're real people that you can talk to us like normal people when you call. We try to make sure that we are a good have a good listening ear to what you guys are doing. So if you if you're applying for a grant and you're like, man, I really don't understand what this guideline is saying, please call us, because we would rather have you call us and us like further explain it versus you completing an application and it not even being a part of the parameter. So that's really on our heart, is that you all see us as real people that you can contact. You can talk through us about what programs you are thinking about applying to. Please review our website first to know the program that you want to apply to. So when you talk to us and talk about your actual program, we can give you our best advice. The great thing is that we're not on the review committee. So we get opportunity to, we're not going to write your proposals, but we get an opportunity to give you like, a little feedback of like, man, I see what you're saying, but I really don't think that this actually is defined as livability, or this actually is defined as well-being. So just please utilize that. Our contact information is there. And under each under each grant page, it'll tell you who that point of contact is. Please reach out to that person and they'll be happy to help. I think that's the only thing I had to add.
Yeah, that's it for me as well. I want to be mindful of the time. So if some of you might need to jump off. That's all of the content that we had, but Jamesha, Halie, Hannah and I will be more than happy to stay on for a few minutes if anyone wants to unmute and ask some questions. That we're available for that for about the next 10 minutes. But again, I want to thank everyone for joining us today and for giving of your time. I will say our communications team works very hard on our website. So we do encourage you to spend some time on our website. There's a lot of really good information there. And then also you can sign up for our nonprofit newsletter there. And then Jamesha, Halie, and I and Hannah are here to answer any questions that you might have. So we'll hang out here for a little bit. If anyone has any questions, you're welcome to unmute. If not, you guys have a great rest of your day.
I do have a question, Erin. This is Rhonda Boyd. My question is, if I have an idea, because I can't do the on the table, it's really an on the table event. I am new. My nonprofit has a new location within a neighborhood, and I really want to know what the neighborhood needs.
I think you might have cut out on us, Rhonda.
Can you hear me? Hello?
Hey, Rhonda, I think you cut out on me.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay. I'm sorry. It's like I'm not able to do the on the table event because of timing, but I'm in a new location. Would you all be able to help me kind of find out the needs of the community that I am in? I guess that's the question. Or if there's a grant around that could even help me figure out the needs of the community. I don't know if that makes sense.
Well, I will say that there's nothing that's saying you have to do on the table during the on the table week.
Gotcha.
And we're more than happy to help work with you if you want, because we have materials, we have all the, there's a little guide there for hosting, that you can certainly do that any other time. And I would certainly recommend that, because especially if you're in a new community, to be able to open your doors and to share with your community and to listen to your community is going to be crucial. So you can use that on the table model anytime you want to. So it does not have to be during that 1 week.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Ayana, I see your question and maybe you want to unmute yourself and explain a little more.
I'm sorry. So I know that Midlands Gives has, we have donors that give through Midlands Gives reoccurring, and outside of the Giving Tuesday platform. Is the endowment, if a nonprofit was to set up an endowment, could that be, how would that work? Would it be specifically, or would they be given directly to that portal? Like, I'm just confused on that, because these are all new terms for me. We're not as large as to get an endowment yet, but I was just curious as how that would work.
Sure, I'll let Jamesha actually take that, because she is well versed in agency funds.
So the way that will work through, so any donations that are given through the Midlands Gives platform is sent to you, the organization, and you all can choose to put that in your bank account, or you all can put that in an endowment somewhere else, wherever you have it at. So they're separate in that sense. But I would say for agency funds specifically, if you know that all money coming in from your Midlands Gives recurring, you would like for it to go to your endowment, that's the conversation that you will have with, if you had an agency fund here, with our finance team, to talk about what are the opportunities. But right now, that money is sent directly to the nonprofit, and then the nonprofit chooses how they want to then expense those funds.
Right. So if an agency has an endowment with us, once a year, we reach out and say, this is how much is available for your organization. Do you want us to send you a check for that amount? Or do you want us to roll that money back into your endowment so it continue to grow? And that's what we ask each agency every year, and they decide whether or not they want to take their amount for the year.
Yep,
But
their
it's
allocation.
wholly separate from Midlands Gives.
Yeah. And I will tell you this, Ayana, do not think that your organization is too small for an endowment. There's never a bad time to start. So if that's something that you and your board is exploring, continue to explore that. Any other questions? All right. Well, we hope that you all have an amazing rest of your day. Have a great week. And happy grant writing, because grants are open now to the 30th. Bye, y'all.
Bye. Thank you all for joining us.
Bye, guys. Thank y'all. And happy Labor Day, too.
That's right.